I don't know. I'll just say the whole thing is a little bit weird. We couldn't hear Judge Dan, before we went live. He just came on like 5 seconds ago, and I was commenting on there's something with your hair, but especially your facial hair. You look like the heavy on the Rockford Files or something. Like you're gonna
the Rockford Files. What the hell are you talking about? Nobody knows what that is.
You just beat the shit out of Jim outside of his trailer and ran him over in his Trans Am. Actually, I think he had a Firebird. He wasn't rich enough to have a Trans Am.
Jesus, I'll take 1970s sitcom or not sitcoms. I don't know what genre that is. 1970s shows. Alex,
I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready for Friday night with Koken. So Koken and Willie.
He would know.
Oh, believe me, they would know. That's like right in their wheelhouse. And the funny thing is, Willie's like 10 months older than me, but he definitely has a better memory about the 80s and 90s, which is funny because he talks so much about doing freaking blow all the time. And I'm like, dude, I don't have any brain cells left. I don't remember anything that you're talking about. So, but that's what makes Friday good. Tonight, we'll see what happens.
I think
no Justin Watkins.
Yeah, I think I've said before, Steve. Rockford Files, one of my dad's 2 favorite television shows.
Why is that?
I don't know. He loves it. I don't know why. There's no rhyme or reason. Because his other favorite show is something called The Paper Chase.
Oh yeah.
Which I could not even begin to figure out where you'd find something like that.
Who from the room? Who's the old or Dan might know? Who's the star of The Paper Chase? Who's the old guy?
Oh, the name Jonathan. God, I mean the movie was about loss. I never saw the show. The movie was famous for law school, right? How crazy law school was. Jonathan something was the old famous actor.
That was John Houseman.
Yeah, Jonathan Houseman. Mr. Such and Such, here's a dime. Call your parents and tell them there's serious doubts about you graduating law school. That type thing.
You know what's great? I think The Paper Chase started in 78 and Rockford Files was probably on like 72 to 80. And Dan's like, old references. The hell are you doing?
I was born in 77, man.
I know. So what'd you watch? The freaking replays of The Paper Chase in law school?
Well, you watched there was a TV show called The Paper Chase. I never watched that. I saw the movie, The Paper Chase. I actually watched it after law school because people made references to it. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I never watched the movie, so I had to watch it. And they actually, the instructors would reference it in final exams or some of the hypotheticals. So finally I watched it in law school and I'm like, yeah, this is, similar to what we're doing.
Nailed it. Rockford Files.
Yeah.
Who's got the? We got. Let's see. Echo check. Well, that's not.
How old is?
Echo check. Echo check. So it's Dan. So we got something with Dan.
Sorry.
It's all right. This thing's screwy. Adam, try speaking and see what happens on Dan's end.
Check. Test. I'm testing it. Why did I test when we're on the air? I could have said something normal.
Hey.
I could have just said something. I didn't have to test. That was very stupid.
And I'm backing away from the computer, so I'm hoping it's not as echoey.
Maybe that'll work.
Sounds fine to me.
Whatever. I will dip in and out because of the audio. I'll just say, based on tonight's results and last night's results in the NHL, in whatever card sponsored this West Division, the NHL sucks.
Oh, you're gonna cry about it?
I'm not crying because I'm not a VGK fan, but I respect the integrity of trying to make the playoffs down the stretch. That's all I hear in the other sports. NHL fans need to step up and go, you know what? What happened the last couple of nights is absolute bullcrap.
What's the problem?
11-1 against the Kings? Show up, Kings.
Show up.
You know what you guys should have done? Beat the Avalanche at home.
It's funny. I saw a VGK fan today who was like, if we don't get the number 1 seed, fate wasn't bound for us. So that's the way it goes. Like, fate, you effed up the lineup. You didn't have enough players. Fate.
Well, there's a couple things here. One, it's kind of funny so we have a hockey guy on, and he's like, Avalanche should probably try and win tonight because I'll tell you what, because he actually went out to Vegas for the game the other night. He's like, Vegas has a serious home ice advantage. You don't want to go there for a game 7. But, you know, in hockey, home ice advantage matters less than other sports. Like people go and win on other people's home ice all the time. So, you know, it just happens. People go and win a game 3. You know, it goes back and forth all the time. So, you shouldn't be crying about it all that much, Steve.
No, Steve, I was just telling you something right before we started here that you were stunned by. But next week is going to be phenomenal. The playoffs start this weekend. VGK at noon on Sunday is their first game. I think the Avalanche start Monday. And then all next week, tune in regular season hockey. Some teams are not done yet, and they'll keep playing next week in the regular season while the playoffs are going on in other cities. How much effort do you think you're going to get in those games?
Is this a tech disaster right now? Adam sounded like he was like being electrocuted as he was speaking. So if he's clear, that's cool with me. I was just hearing something weird.
I feel like it did sound weird.
Yeah,
but maybe that was. Let's see. Maybe the headset might work now.
Is this why teams are playing? Because the players have incentive-based contracts?
Yeah.
What a crock. What a bizarre. You know, I opened the show today because I hear so much digging on the NBA about how, you know, the tanking and the load management and the season was terrible. The bottom of the NHL was fucking gross. And NHL fans are not willing to say it. Like it. Listen, the Golden Knights and Avs benefited from it, but give me a break. The Kings, the Ducks, the Sharks. You can name 5 other Devils, Senators. I mean, there were dreadful teams in the NHL during the regular season.
Red Wings, Sabres.
Oh God, so weird, man. And just to correct Dan, I'm not mad. I like to see the Golden Knights do well. I'm not a Golden Knights fan. I'm not a hater. But I just think the end of the season, I mean, that's absurd when you've got 2 important games and the Kings show up and they lose 11-1 and the Knights win 6-0. Same thing with the Knights. That was a joke. Don't play the games.
No, it just sounds like you're crying like a baby.
I'm not. Here's the great thing. The great thing is, I didn't bet a lot of money. I have never bet a regular season favorite as big as the Knights, and I did it tonight. First time ever. They were minus 475. I saw like some of the guy Rex, who was always whining over at the Westgate. They got the 550 over there. The odds were 550. I got them at 475. I won, but that doesn't mean like that's ridiculous. That's a stupid bet. But it was like so guaranteed that the Kings didn't give a shit. I was like, I'm going to make money off it. Why not? If Bettman doesn't care, I'll make money off it.
And you didn't. But
I did. I won the bet.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well,
I bet that now you're unhappy. Now this whole thing is blowing up right in your face.
Yes, now I'm unhappy.
I did. I laid $1.50 puck line because I was like, they're not even gonna show up. What's the difference? And then the Avs don't even. They're like, we're gonna dominate so much. We're not even gonna start our starting goaltender. Like, let's just throw somebody out there. Who cares? And then you go like 7 minutes without shots being attempted, so it doesn't even matter who's playing goal.
Alex, come on. It was 11-1 in 2 games. They were bad this year. 11-1. They're that bad?
Oh no, they quit. They weren't tanking all season. They just weren't very good, and then they just quit these last 2 games. Like there was no reason. They have to go play back to back on the road at altitude in games that don't matter. Like what do they care? Why would they show up? But I mean, to your point, like I get that it kind of ruins the competitive nature, and you don't want to. It just kind of sucks to have a sport where the end of the year some teams aren't trying, but they absolutely were not trying. They completely quit in these 2 games, which is fine. That's their right.
Actually, it actually is. But I don't ever want to hear a fan of the NHL ever piss and moan about the NBA and tanking. And I definitely do not want to hear if you're a fan of the NHL, but you were bitching about that Giants-Eagles game where the Eagles were like, we're smart. We're going for the pick. We don't give a shit about this game. Our season's done. if you've ever complained about other leagues and competitive integrity down the stretch, you're a hypocrite. That's ridiculous.
True. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was gonna say my personal favorite hockey moment was Scotty Bowman breaking up a fight between myself and a media member in the media room before a playoff game. That was awesome. And then also Scotty Bowman, after he retired, taunting members in the Avalanche fans in the stands. They're taunting him, and he just starts looking at his championship rings. He doesn't say a word. He's just like looking at his rings. So those are my favorite hockey moments.
That's great. I will say I will be disappointed just from an observer of hockey and somebody who covers it, if there's not an Avalanche Knights series here. Like, that is going to be a fun series. That's going to be an awesome series. But they both have tough competition. I mean, the Blues have been great down the stretch. I think 8-1-3 of the last 12. And the Knights have the Wild are the Knights' kryptonite. Like, they can't beat them, especially up there. And so, it's not a guarantee that we're going to get Knights Avalanche, but I mean, I really hope we do.
Well, I mean, there was discussion here about, for us, we figured the Wild would be a much easier first round. Like the Blues are a very tough out for us, and it's like, do you care? Like, you're gonna have to face the Knights anyway. Is it that big a deal? I guess Game 7, you don't want to play it on the road, but again, hockey, yeah, you never want to play Game 7 on the road, but hockey, home ice advantage isn't that big of a deal. And, we figured we would skate past Minnesota pretty easily in the first round. You guys don't feel that way, maybe, but we do. So it's like, that's a very tough out in the first round for us against St. Louis. So that was our thinking.
And it seemed like they didn't care. I mean, they played like they cared, but, it's not like they threw Grubauer out there. They were just like...
Yeah, look who the Kings started. Look who the Kings started in net. They were like, remember the old Nick Van Exel 1-2-3 Cancun for the Nuggets like 20 years ago? Like the Kings didn't show up tonight.
It was fun. It was a fun bet to have and just kind of kick back. I mean, for a while it was 1-0. I was like, oh my God, what is happening? But I knew, like, once they scored that goal, it was going to be it was the Avalanche was going to start, pun intended, and it did, but. Good times. Hockey playoffs starting this weekend, noon in Vegas on Sunday for those. So will Reeves be back soon? I think so. I do love all the conspiracy theories out there about Ryan Reeves. Like, could he have been back sooner and maybe they just put him on LTIR for cap purposes? Yeah, that's possible. But, like, the people that say he was never hurt, like, just go back and watch the play. He was clearly hurt. Now, again, did they shut him down for longer than they needed to? Maybe manipulate the cap in a way? That's possible. But the whole, like, he was never hurt thing is just, it's silly. Like, I've sent a bunch of people that texted me this week the video because they're like, did Reeves ever really get hurt? And I'm like, here's the video of him getting hurt. Like, it looks pretty clear that he got hurt. So again, yeah, maybe it was manipulation a little bit with the cap and the IR, but I think he'll be back but I do absolutely believe there was an injury. So we'll see. I mean, he was on the ice a couple times in practice, so I think he's close. The other injuries, I mean, they sound like they think they're going to be close to full strength, but, man, they've had a lot of guys out the last few games, and I don't know what the status – I mean, we know that they're very forthright about injuries, Steve, but I don't think we know much about the details on some of the other guys.
Hey, Dan, what's first of all, I'll ask Adam. Adam, so what's the playoff schedule?
They will start Sunday.
VGK will start Sunday. When do the Avs start?
Monday, and they're both every other day.
Okay, so Golden Knights play on Sunday and Tuesday.
Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Yeah.
Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Nice. And the series are what? 2-2, 1-1-1.
Yep.
Okay. Dan, do you have any clue? Did tickets go on sale for the Avs yet?
I do not know. For us, it's here. Again, we haven't been able to watch games like for 2 years. I'm telling you guys.
Explain that deal.
So the Stan Kroenke, who owns the Avalanche and Nuggets, started his own network. And I wrote a story and doing a legal analysis of what happened with this deal. He allowed all three. He had contracts with Dish, DirecTV, and Comcast. He allowed them all to expire at the same time. So not he personally, because he had his executives that handle these deals. But he started a network called Altitude, and he allowed all three of those contracts to expire at the same time midway through the season 3 seasons ago. And so I did a legal analysis of what was going on with that during the Super Bowl week when I was in Tampa. And I didn't realize how much money he was raking in money hand over fist. And so he's been playing hardball with this. And so we have not been able to watch the Avs or Nuggets, ironically, because they've been bad. Both teams had been bad. Now they're finally both really good, and we haven't been able to watch them. They did finally get deals done with both the Dish networks, but Comcast dominates in Denver, like 60% of the households. I'm a Comcast guy. I ain't switching. And so most of us don't get to watch them. And it's unfortunate because the Avs are the best team in hockey. And the Nuggets, Jamal Murray's hurt now. So, up until he got hurt, they were, on track to maybe, they just made that Aaron Gordon trade. Who knows what the Nuggets could have done? They have the MVP likely in Nikola Jokic. This is the time to have your products on television, Stan Kroenke. They're going to lose the lawsuit. The judge has said he's going to dismiss the lawsuit. As soon as he can, he said, I'm going to dismiss your lawsuit. But he's not, they're not going to deal done. So we have not been able to watch for 3 seasons now, the Avs or Nuggets. So, as a talk show host, I do my best, but Colorado's already a hockey market. Like, they support the teams when they win. You got your hockey fans that love hockey. Of course, they're always going to be there. But
all right, is it? First of all, is the ticket a hot ticket at Adam? Did they just boost Colorado? You guys know? Did they just boost Colorado higher? Or they're at like 8,000 too, right?
I think
allowed in. I think they just boosted it the other day, like 7,750, 8,000.
I think it's somewhere in that range. So it'll sell. Yeah, I mean, those tickets I would assume will sell. But it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be.
Is there a chance that Knights fans can? Well, they got to travel. Adam, do you think Knights fans will, because maybe they can't get into the Avs games here if they play in the next series, will actually travel to Denver and spend about the same money?
I mean, they could. I would imagine it's mostly secondary market, right? Because wouldn't season ticket holders get all the tickets?
Well, and they're just changing the rules now, the mask rules. So it could be a whole different ballgame by the time that series rolls around.
Oh, so the tickets here, any tickets that were available. Adam, did you track this today? Do you see them go on sale today at 3:00?
No, but I saw like people were flipping out at the price. I was it like the last row in the nosebleeds was like $350.
Well, yeah, I'll put up Ted Pretty, who's a local weatherman here, and he's a big sports fan. Ted's not a cheap ass.
Did he have to change his name to that?
I don't know. Is that his real name? Do we know? By the way, Zig Fracassi on this one. We'll read Zig's tweet here in a second. But Ted said, "Love you, Knights, but $332 a ticket plus fees for the last row of the upper bowl is insane. Round one." And then Zig says, "That's chump change for a TV star like you, Ted." Laugh out loud. Seriously, that's steep. Shut up, Zig.
Frank Andrews.
Yeah. Adam, what did you say before hockey got here? What did you say before Major League NHL hockey got here about pro sports?
The people didn't understand what it was like.
Yep.
I remember so many people saying they're going to go to every game and all this stuff, and I was like, I don't think you understand how much it costs to go to pro sports.
Oh, it's affordable.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Believe me, now that we've had a pandemic and Bill Foley didn't make his money, they're going to bleed the turnip dry, especially when there's only, 8,000 tickets available. They're going to do whatever they want. And here's the thing. Does he owe us here in Vegas to be reasonable with the ticket prices?
No.
What do you mean?
I don't think he does.
I mean, it's a business. Like you owe fans to put tickets on sale and find the price point that people will pay to go. And if he was putting tickets up for that much and nobody was buying them, then you'd be like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this is insane. But they get snatched up right away.
Language, Brady. What's wrong with Brady tonight? What's he doing?
Language. Can you, Steve? Could you also put up Mark's question there? Yeah. God, I love I will go behind the scenes a little bit on this, but I love people's understanding and what they think they know, because I took a lot of heat last night for this. Which
what happened?
So after the game, obviously the Knights win. They win big, blowout victory. I had a story due this morning, kind of examining how bad the power play has been for the Knights. Only one team in the league, by the way, that made the playoffs has a worse power play than the Knights do. So was it the perfect time to ask a question about something negative after such a big win and everything? Maybe not, I guess. But we do have stories to work on. And when we have access to the coach, sometimes we have to ask questions that fit, things that we're doing.
Yeah, well, based on recent experience, you got to ask a question when you can ask it. He might walk off like a child.
Exactly. So people were mad that I rained on their parade by asking about how crappy the special team or the power play has been. Whatever. I'm not too worried about it. I just love when people just attack, and you're just there's reasons that we have to do things sometimes. One was because I was working on that story literally last night. I was writing the story as I was asking the question. So it was fine. And he answered it, whatever. And then Jonathan Marchessault actually had a tremendous answer about it. He didn't seem too worried about the question. So the people that just get all upset and worked up. By the way, there's one person that says I'm always harsh on the Golden Knights, but I'm always over the top positive about the Raiders. What the fuck are you watching and listening to?
What are you listening to?
Jesus
Positive on the Raiders. God, you know what? I got to tell you, I can't wait till we have a Sunday here, and the Golden Knights kick the shit out of somebody, and the Raiders lose the game in the afternoon, and Raiders fans are coming out and mingling with really happy Vegas Golden Knights fans. Oh shit! You better get in your cars and drive home. Seriously, get off the strip.
I don't know, man. I do think that the Raiders crowds are not going to be.
Well, I think but I agree. Go ahead, finish it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Wide and Cheese Raiders crowd. I think it's going to be the Napa Raiders crowd, not the Oakland Raiders crowd.
To be seen.
Yeah. It's funny because we listeners and viewers, it's we have a guy that hosts with us. He won a contest to become a host, and he's been a lifetime season ticket holder. And when he first came on, that was his viewpoint, and we've completely broken his spirit. And he's often highly critical now, and jaded. He was jaded, whatever. And so he'll come on my show, and he'll spend the entire interview ripping Vic Fangio, ripping the new GM, and sure enough, on the text line it'll be Homer John Davis, blah blah blah. It's are you even listening? He just spent the entire interview ripping the team. We've completely broken this man down, and here you are, recycling some old take from 3 years ago that this guy's a homer. Shut up, so it's kind of funny.
By the way, this is a great touche. Adam, just because the Oakland Raider fans can't get into the game, they're going to be all over the strip. There's going to be 25,000 hardcore Raider fans mad that they didn't get in, mad that they lost, and then Knights fans are going to be coming out with their expensive sweaters and all their little old outfits. Yay! Let's give a high five. And
Oakland Raider fans that didn't go to games when they were in Oakland. Yeah, thanks.
Well, it's going to be the stadium. The stadium sucked there, and this is going to be, to me, this is going to be a freaking celebration of the Raiders, and we're going to have big crowds in town every weekend. So we're good.
Oh no, it pissed me off though because I was planning on it because I really want to go see that stadium, and so I was been waiting all this time. I'm I'm going when the Broncos play the Raiders. So I'm waiting for that schedule to come out, and I'm waiting on Southwest.com to get tickets before everybody gobbles them up.
Christmas in Vegas.
It's Christmas. I'm damn it. So now I booked the Dolphins game. And so now
what'd you get you got the Tropicana, right? What'd you get it for?
Oh no, so that was total bogus too. So I have a buddy who's in the Hilton system, so I get Hilton rooms dirt cheap. I was supposed to get the Hilton for $56 a night, and then I go log in to book that, and it's rate may change, so now it's like a $1.50 a night. So producer Brady, can we put producer Brady to work? Give me a good rate on a room, something decent. That's your assignment. For the September Thursday through Monday, the Dolphins game. Give me a good rate.
Well, yeah,
Except-
go ahead, Adam.
No, I like that Brady asked if Ari won a contest to be a producer. Like I like that he suggested that Ari would have won the contest. That's nice of him.
Yeah, like he didn't get his job through merit. It's like he had to have done something to, backdoor his way into the job.
Maybe I wonder if that they don't want this, but I wonder if it's part of the strategy to get a lot of the Raider fans away from the stadium as quickly as possible. Because you notice all of the parking, except for I guess Uber would be a little bit north, but all of the parking is pretty much south of the stadium, isn't it, Adam? All those remote lots. Oh, the Orleans is a little bit north of the stadium, but the rest is like get the shuttle and get the hell out of here. Go down south.
Yeah, the ones like over by Silverton, and then the one like at the corner at like Blue Diamond in Vegas Boulevard. Yeah, they pretty much are lower.
Well, I think where you might be going with that is that maybe the insinuation that Raider fans are true Raiders fans, Oakland Raider fans, are not the kind of crew you want hanging around the stadium, which is kind of funny. Like Broncos had a crew that was called the South Stands, and they were the guys that drank beer and, were the rowdy crew that knew each other and hung out.
Racist. Yeah, we know.
Well, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But they were the ones that yelled the loudest and fought, and fought with the Raider players, threw snowballs at them, whatever.
Really?
But so when they built the new stadium, I know this because I asked them, because they came to the station and talked to us, the executive, ticket executives. And I said, "What are you going to do with the South Stand crew?" And they said, "I know where you're talking about, Dan. And yeah, we're breaking them up." Well, what happened with that was they sold out to the corporate crowd and all that, and they made it all wine and cheese. And what happened was, for years, and I don't know if that had ever really truly went away, is the Broncos have had a really crappy home field advantage. Like they made that nice club level which is the middle band, where when it gets cold or whatever, they made it so nice in there that everybody goes inside. So, and then also with all these corporate tickets, nobody knows each other. There's no camaraderie. And the Broncos have had a fairly impotent home field advantage for years and years, and players have spoken about it. So I want to be careful there, Vegas.
By the way, as far as the hotel thing goes,
yeah,
I forgot about this. Like, this is absolutely going to be the case forever. Like yesterday, the hotels were just sitting there waiting for the home dates, and my goodness, I'm looking at that weekend that you're coming. Mm-hmm. Holy Jesus!
Well, don't you think they're going to require probably all but one weekend to be a 2 or 3 night stay?
Minimum? Yeah, I think most of them look like 3-night minimum.
3-night stay.
We're
gonna kill. We're gonna kill you guys. And here's the funny thing. Especially for Raider fans in California, and I laughed about it a couple times on the air today because I started to see the pissing and moaning about the resale market for ticket prices. Because the Raiders, I think on Vivid Seats, it was 4 Raider games are the highest priced resale games, and then it was Buccaneers and Patriots was number 1. But the next 4 were all Raiders games. They're like 600 average price, 600, 650, 850, 900. And I went on the air today, and I was like, "Hey guys, you're the ones who keep lecturing us in Vegas that the hotel sales tax, that's not our money. We're not paying for it. It's tourists. Okay, now you're fucking paying. And now we're getting our money. We put up $750 million. Now we're getting our money. I don't want to hear whining. Pay the money. Come here and leave your money. We're getting it back, baby. We are."
Caesars is $373
a night.
I saw that. Yeah, I was like, whoa.
Paris is $297. Planet Hollywood $281. Bally's $233. Bellagio $475. Mandalay Bay $342. MGM $308. Oyo $229.
Oyo, the old Hooters. The Seagull Suites, and there's about 1 million of them. The Seagull Suites on Valley View and Trop. That's right where the Uber and Lyft pickup is, and that's within walking distance. I'd love for you to look at that one up. I don't know how many units they actually have available, but watch them and watch if they're charging like 3-night minimum and it's $300. Right by Hooker Alley, right across the way there at the truck stop.
Down,
How about Terribles?
Downtown Grand, 338.
You know what? Can you look up Terribles? I mean, it's not within walking distance. I guarantee Terribles ain't less than 200.
It's Silver Sevens now, by the way.
That's a good point. By the way, I did a show from Silver Sevens. They're one of our sponsors, and I called them Terribles. Sorry, Silver Sevens, I forgot. Oh, this is gonna be so awesome.
I'll be staying at Cofield's house.
Yeah, we got room.
I'll be putting things in the air fryer and my underwear. You know, it'll be great.
I'll have one air fryer for you, backup for me. Got the barbecue ready to go.
Ah,
A lot of frying pans.
news.
What's that?
You want to book this right now? $79.
Eagle Sweets?
What is it?
No, Silver Sevens.
Oh, Silver Sevens?
Yeah.
Dude, I'd actually jump on that.
It doesn't sound like the nicest place.
It's fine. The
I want
neighborhood
bed bugs.
the neighborhood is needs a bit of rehab. We'll just say that. 'Cause, there was a PF Chang's across the street. So now before they get to change it over to they're gonna blow it up and turn it into a Chick-fil-A. And then Virgin's right down the road. The other thing that needs to happen on that area is there's a giant Siegel Suites property, Adam, right there. That's been fenced up for like 5 years. They need to get that moving and get that. If that opens, then that part of Paradise will be at least decent.
That was a casino.
It was a casino, I know.
That was a pretty decent one. Should I tell a story of our friend that used to work at that Terribles when it was Terribles? Somebody that's in radio?
No, what happened?
One of our old friends who is a big star now, Steve, in the radio world.
That's the friend who lived right next door, right, in the apartments?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lived there for a little bit.
Well, I know he did because I subletted his apartment when I was out of work and I needed a place to stay, and it was all right.
I like that apartment complex, but I'm talking about when he was living on my couch, rent free, and calling house meetings and saying we party too much for him when he was.
You guys need to go to sleep. In my free couch here, you're disturbing me. You need to go to sleep earlier.
It was me and our friend.
I'm out of work and I need my rest.
It was me and our friend Gooch. We did. I mean, listen, we were 23, 24. We were a little bit out of control. That's fair. But you're living rent free on the couch. You don't get to make a decision. So he called a house meeting and said, "You got to tone it down with the party because I need to sleep." But anyway, he got a job at Terribles, driving their airport shuttle. And he lost that job because he lost the keys.
Yeah.
Which was one of my favorite. Like, all you really have to do is not crash and don't lose the keys.
And he lost the keys. I don't remember that one. That's awesome. That is
he lost the keys.
Holy shit. Yeah, that Mitch. What are you gonna do? Brady says 128 a night at M. I mean, if you want to stay a little bit off the strip, Dan, that's a great place.
I don't know what that is. Raphael's going to hook us up. Raphael Serrano. He's got the hookup. He's hooked us up.
Oh, you can?
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this. When I first started as a sports fan, I had an apartment. It had a 30-day guarantee. It was in North Vegas. And they were like training pit bull puppies to dogfight, and they're playing dice on the electrical boxes.
Wait, did someone tell you to go there, or you stumbled upon it? That is not close to where we were at Sports Fan.
Well, I asked Ryan Williams, I'm like, is that okay? And he's like, it's all right, I guess. And it was not all right. And so I go to move out, and a couple of the guys help me, and they're like, Dan, this feels like an intervention, man. So like we moved out, and when we go to move out, like some psycho had like was off his meds. He had dumped everything out of his apartment into the courtyard, and like all these kids were like playing on his mattress and everything. I was like, yeah, I got to get out of here. Thanks. So, I moved to a less crappy part of town that still wasn't great, but time of my life.
Yeah. Sports Fan wasn't really known for paying a big salary. So your domicile was not going to be a palace. Even though Vegas was a lot cheaper back then, it was still not going to be a great place.
Well, it was $385 a month, but like when we pulled in, my mom literally started crying and said, "Let's just go. We can go home. You don't have to stay here. We can go home." I said, "It's all right, Mom. I'll be okay." Literally, the only thing that we knew, we finally, after a few days, we called up and we said, if there's a Chili's, because we took the strip to get to the Mandalay to go to work because we had no idea what we were doing. We said, if there's a Chili's in town then we know there's a nice area because there's, and so we found a Chili's, and then we knew, I think it was in Summerlin. And so we know, okay, there's a nice area of Las Vegas, and that's how we knew there were other parts.
The Chili's was the fancy part of town.
Yes, exactly.
Probably
in Summerlin.
The Chili's at Rainbow Crossing, which is not Summerlin, and ain't that nice anymore. So,
yeah,
memories. Yes. So, yeah, you know what? Honestly, I could. It might be boring to the local audience, Adam, but I could talk about these home game weekends, like all the way up until football season. I think this whole thing is so fascinating. What this town is going to be like. I don't think anyone here. I think a lot of people here have no idea what is going to be descending upon us for those 9 weeks, and it's actually a 10th week because here's the other one. How about this, Dan? The first game here with fans is going to be a preseason game. I had a guy write in during the show on Twitter, and he's like, "Yep, I just scored 2 tickets to the Seattle preseason game, game 1 of 3, only home game." And he's like, "Got 2 tickets, $220 a piece. I'm in. What a bargain!" I'm like, "Holy shit, it's a preseason game." That's what people are going to be.
I mean, you're right that there's no idea. I mean, it's different than, and I know this is like it's a bad word to even say, but it's different than NBA All-Star Weekend. But it's a scale. The comparison I make is not that it's going to be the same as that, but that it's the scale of that. Like that weekend, people are like, "What just happened?" Like, what just happened? Like, we knew this was going to be a big event, but what just happened? And in a different way, that's what every weekend is going to be like when the NFL is here. It's just going to be so insane every weekend.
Yep. And then we're gonna get the hype from the media from out of town. Christ, we've all known about this nightclub that's going to be in the end zone. We talked about it a year ago. That's Wynn Nightclub. And Adam, you said it was the number 1 or 2 story on the RJ for like 2 straight days.
I'm going to look right now because the story's been up for like 4 days. I bet you it's still in our top 10. And like you're suggesting, like I'm very annoyed because how long have we been talking about this? I wrote about it a year ago. I posted on Instagram a year ago, like this nightclub is going to be the spot to watch football and all the NFL. And like all of a sudden now people are like, what? There's a nightclub there? Like, yes, we've been talking about it for a year. And yeah, every day it's in our top stories. I'm trying to look right now. It is. It's like number 14, so it's not in the top 10 anymore. But it was the number 1 story for like 4 straight days on our website. The other one that like people outside the market have no idea what's going to happen around the stadium, and around the stadium is not close to being done, right? Because there's a ton of property that's being bought up where they can build bars, hotels, dispensaries. My guess is there'll be multiple dispensaries within walking distance, right there near the stadium. Dan, we also have. There's 2 strip clubs. One is like across the street on a diagonal, Crazy Horse. Media, as someone said here, Mark and LV, so the national media is going to go nuts over the strip club promos. Not only, I mean, around town, yeah, but the other thing is that you can walk out of the stadium, cross the club's right there, and then there's that's Crazy Horse 3, and then Hustler's like down a little path. It's a little bit of a walk, but that's close too. Well, they've been setting it up for a while, and not to give away, I'm sure that they're going to announce it or whatever they're going to do, but they are going to have a special where you park at that club for the games.
The whole weekend.
You get a bottle before the game and a bottle after the game,
and
you park there, and I think it's going to be like $500, which is actually kind of a steal.
Oh, I thought it was a whole weekend. I thought they were doing like whole weekend parking, but you think on game day you get a bottle and you get to stay before or you get to go in before and after?
Yeah, you would hope that you would park there, then your friends drink the bottle and you just drive them. That's how you would hope it goes.
I love it. And then we got people outside the market who were like, it's not going to be a home field advantage. Trust me. The first year, a lot of people ain't selling their tickets, and there's going to be a freaking drunken weed fest. Nuts.
The question, how wild would the club be? I don't think it's going to be that wild.
Yeah,
I mean it's a maybe for night games, maybe for like a Monday Night Football, it'll be a little wild. But I think that it's going to be cost prohibitive to be too crazy. There's going to be a DJ playing and like there might be people dancing, but I think mostly you'll be in your booth and watching the game. I don't think it's going to be like a wild club scene during the game. That would be awesome though. Just so people know, I mean I'm sure that it's not as prominent, so maybe you don't see it on the TV. There is a nightclub inside T-Mobile. Like there's a high nightclub inside T-Mobile, which we've had for a couple of years. It's just not right on the ice like it will be right on the field at Allegiant. But the upper level of T-Mobile is a nightclub, and it's it's a great spot to watch games from and to just hang out and party. It's going to be different at Allegiant, but this is not a new thing for Vegas.
So transitioning, will Deshaun Watson get to spend a lot of time at Raiders games just hanging out at the club since he won't be playing?
He's too shy. He's too shy to do that.
Oh, God. All right, it was really quiet up until yesterday. And it was funny. We had a legal expert on yesterday, a guy named Dan Lust out of New York. And Dan was like, yeah, it's been really quiet. And, apparently Rich Eisen, he had talked to someone and, there's going to be a settlement soon. And then that was it. Rusty Hardin and Tony Busby both went crazy today. There was a story out in USA Today that Deshaun had gotten the heads up on two different women who were making claims like, hey, there's a problem here. And then they just kind of ignored it. And then in March, he was calling, he was not calling, but he was messaging on Instagram again, trying to get a $55 massage. So the story was out today. Like, he did not care. He got the heads up that he may be in some trouble here. And he's like, screw it, man. Got to get my massage.
Man, yeah. I mean, obviously, I think maybe it was quiet because there was some sort of meeting, right? And Busby apparently didn't like what happened at that meeting. Neither one of these lawyers, like Rusty Hardin, used to be a very, very reputable, respected lawyer, and man, he is sad now. And I know it kind of went south for him after Roger Clemens. I mean, he did not handle the Roger Clemens thing well. But boy, neither one of these lawyers, man, they are a disgrace to the profession now. Just from a legal perspective, I just cringe anytime I see anything these guys talk about in the media. Keep your mouths shut. Although I did think it was fun. The one thing that Hardin said is funny is, when Busby shoots off his mouth about, there will be no settlement. And then Hardin says, yeah, that's funny because he's asked us for settlements several times. Of course, there's going to be a settlement. Eventually, there's going to be a settlement. This thing's not going to trial. There's going to be 22 different defendants at trial, plaintiffs at trial. This trial would be a mess. And Busby doesn't, from what I can tell, these plaintiffs, they don't have that much discovery to go to trial with. This thing eventually, from what my guess would be, is going to get settled, but it could cost Watson half or 75% of his contract. Like, it's a weird mess.
Really, that much money? I was figuring like $100,000 a piece. So you're at 2.2 million and you move on. It's not cheap. Not cheap.
Well, but you got to also figure legal fees are going to be. I mean, Rusty Hardin is not a cheap lawyer, and you got to figure it's not just him. Like, I don't know how much that guy charges an hour, $800, $1,000, $1,200 an hour, and it's not just him. He's got associates and paralegals, and that clock it's got to be running constantly. And then you got depositions, and you know how much it costs to depose 22 women, and God, good Lord.
No,
like this,
I actually don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no. You got to pay the transcriptionist, and man, no. I mean, this thing could be ridiculously expensive, and Busby's not going to settle cheap if he thinks he's got the goods or whatever. So I don't know how. I mean, it's in the millions and millions. I'll tell you that. It's not going to be 100. I wouldn't think it'd be $100,000 a piece or whatever, but who knows? But it's a mess. I don't think it's going to settle anytime soon. But it's just creepy. I mean, it's just for a guy that had such a good reputation, and I know Adam, you and I have, we're talking about it before with Justin. What a weird way to go about your business. Like, there are easier ways to get things done. If you have certain needs that need to get met, there are easier ways to figure it out. And it's just odd and creepy. And and that's the thing about Rusty Hardin. When Rusty Hardin goes out and makes these statements about how consensual, we keep saying these are consensual. anything that happened, and yes, he keeps saying you're killing your client when you keep saying there's these consensual acts because it makes them look worse and worse and worse. Shut up. Quit saying things in the media, Rusty. You're killing your client. So the whole thing is terrible on both sides. And Rusty Harden, you're doing your client no favors. Shut up.
Adam, what are your thoughts?
I've always been intrigued by the league aspect of these things. We've talked about it time and time again of like, what on earth are they doing? What jurisdiction does the NFL have to be sending their investigators to talk to the women? Like, what the fuck is going on?
They talked to 4 of the women, and then Busby said, you know what, didn't like the way they were talked to. We're probably not going to let any more of the women talk to the NFL. And my first thought was like, why is the NFL talking to them? It's not through the legal process yet. What business does the NFL have getting involved?
Well, they do. They investigate, and I mean, you wouldn't have had a problem with them talking to Ray Rice's fiance, would you? I mean,
yes. That's where this started. Yes. You're not illegal.
They fucked it up. Yes.
Yeah.
The track record is, they've cleaned it up. I think they've tried to show more respect. They screwed it up and really didn't take it seriously.
No. The reality is, if it turns out that there was serious, if and I'm not saying he did, but if it turned out he raped these women and they allowed him to play, you guys would be screaming bloody murder that Deshaun Watson raped all these women and he played. So for them to have some preliminary conversations, if they were willing, that's not out of bounds. Now, if they don't want to talk to the NFL, then they don't talk to them. It's not like they're saying, hey, talk to us, or, to my knowledge, but they're allowed to investigate. And if that's okay. Now, it's a fair argument to say maybe they shouldn't be, but it's always a tough position for them, right? I understand what you're saying, but it's a tough position because they're not good at it. Like, for example, the Ray Rice thing, they talked to the fiance, in the same room as Ray Rice. Well, that's a classic no-no. You don't talk to the victim in the same room with the abuser because, that's just day one stuff. They're not going to feel compelled to speak freely in the same room with their abuser.
Of course, that's an obvious mistake, but time and time again, we look, baseball tried to investigate the steroid issue and had no idea what they were doing, just completely botching on every level, and were going after some witnesses and trying to cover up other things. This is not your job. Your job is to run a football league and let the legal proceedings take care of the legal proceedings. This is not your job.
Their policy has already been that they don't need a legal finding. Well, one, this is not criminal to begin with, and two, they've already said they don't need a legal finding to discipline somebody. So I think what they're trying to find out is, what do we have here? Do we need to put him on the exempt list at a minimum? What do we do with this cat? At some point here in the next few months, we have to figure out, do we let this guy on our field? This is a nightmare for them. This guy has been accused of sexual misconduct by 22 women. It's a black eye for us, and they're kind of damned if we do, damned if we don't.
Can you just comment, what's under the umbrella of sexual misconduct?
On their policy?
Sorry to put you on the spot, but I wonder, what is sexual misconduct as far as getting massages? Is it asking for a hand job? Is it forcing a hand job? Is it pushing someone's head towards your groin? I kind of wonder what it is, and I talked about this on the air today. I think the NFL is going to have a problem. I mean, if he forced any sort of sexual act on women, if he raped them, then we're talking a whole different level here.
But he has been accused of that.
But okay, so they're saying he forced them into sexual. Okay,
some of them.
All right.
Yes.
Well, that to me is where there's a difference between Deshaun Watson and, say, Robert Kraft. If it was simply asking for sex acts, they reciprocate, and that's misconduct, then I think the NFL's got some issues with disciplining Deshaun Watson versus not disciplining Robert Kraft.
No, the worst cases. Well, first off, the Robert Kraft thing, those are prostitutes. So that's not the same thing. these are women that are masseuses. Well, some of them aren't even masseuses. They're just like estheticians or whatever, and he propositioned them. So that's different. But the worst cases here, yes, he forced to give sexual acts. He forced them. Is the allegation.
I just want to clear it up. If you're paid to come over and give somebody a massage and it becomes a sex act and you're still getting paid to be there, how are you not a prostitute?
As opposed to the like, craft thing?
Yeah, there's no. It
was a brothel, essentially.
Right, but if you're paying somebody to come over to give you a massage and eventually sex, like that, just because you're not employed as a prostitute doesn't mean you're not a prostitute.
Yeah, it does. I mean, a one-time, thing, it doesn't make you. You're not a prostitute by profession. If you got, caught up and a professional athlete asked you to do something, and in your mind you got paid for the massage and you did something for an athlete, I don't think you would want to be characterized as a prostitute. I wouldn't say that. Now, if you want to be technical about it and you wanted to label somebody that, I guess you could do that, but I'm sure she would not consider herself a prostitute.
That's fine. I don't think that I don't know that the massage parlor people would either. I don't want to label anyone. But I'm saying,
that's what they're doing. No, the Robert Kraft people, they do that on a routine basis. That's part of their book of business, is that they're escorts that's what they did. That was part of their routine book of business, as opposed to the allegation is he just randomly propositioned these people and out of the blue got them to do this. But that's not what they did. It wasn't they weren't escorts, right? He was just randomly getting them, these supposedly innocent people, and his claim is, well, they did it anyway, right? But that didn't make them prostitutes. That made, he took it, he got them to do it. They were so thrilled to be involved with him that, okay, they decided to him. But just to be clear, he's not saying he paid them for it. He's saying they wanted to have consensual sex acts with him. That's what he's saying.
Sure, I think he's paid for the massages, right?
Right, that's what he's saying. So,
but I mean, I don't know how many times do you have to accept money if you're a masseuse to then become a prostitute? Like, I don't think anybody should be labeled either way. I don't think the women at the massage parlors.
Well, apparently you do, because you're calling them prostitutes, Adam.
No. I'm saying if we're going to call the women at the massage parlor prostitutes, like I don't
you
think
are?
anybody. I don't. No, you did.
Rewind the tape.
You did. That's why I said, well, if they are, then these women are too.
Yeah, you are. You're right. You are.
I'm saying neither should.
Oh, now you are.
No, I was saying in response to you saying, well, the women in the craft situation were prostitutes.
Yes,
I'm saying,
they
hold
are.
on. If we're going to call them that, then if we are going to call them that, then we have to call these women that too.
No, I don't think you do, because these women don't do this on a regular basis. They don't.
How many times do you have to accept money for a sex act before you're a prostitute then?
On a regular basis.
Okay, so like 3?
Probably. I don't know. What does a regular basis mean to you? What would a reasonable person believe would be a regular basis?
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I'm saying I don't think anybody should be labeled that, no matter what. Like, they're
why? I mean, that's ridiculous. Why not? I mean, there are prostitutes in this world, are there not?
I mean, I guess there are if we're going to use the word, but I don't know that. Like, if the label is going to be used, I think it's either going to be once. Like, if you do it once, then you are.
Why? Why would that be?
Because I don't think you should at all. But I'm saying we're going to have to come up with a number, or like what does regularly mean then?
Well, why do we have to come up with a number? Just because
if we're going to label somebody,
the world according to Adam?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
you said the situation is different. I'm saying I don't think it's different.
You don't think it's different? Because
I think it's different.
So if one person, by the way, they felt coerced or whatever.
Well, they're saying that now.
Right. Well, okay. You don't think that women get it, whether they were enamored or whatever, you don't think women that in the presence of a professional athlete, for whatever reason, might choose to whether it be for money or just because they may have get wrapped up in that situation or whatever. But that would make them a prostitute if they did it one time.
No, okay, no, I don't. I'm saying if we're going to label the women in the craft situation, who very well may have been forced into it by traffickers and maybe not volunteering to do it. Like if we're going to label them and say, well, the craft situation's different, but here's the whole thing started. You said the craft situation is different because they were prostitutes.
Okay, my understanding, by the way,
these women are taking money. What makes them different?
Okay, by the way, it's my understanding in the craft situation, the sex trafficking thing was more than likely a sham by the prosecutors to help violate people's constitutional rights and getting a warrant. I'm not aware of any legitimate sex trafficking that was going on at that parlor. I could be wrong. I think that was a sham. My understanding is the reason those charges were dropped, that was a sham violation of constitutional rights because they were videotaping everybody. That was so whether you, I, Robert Kraft, or Steve went into that parlor to get a legitimate massage, everybody that went in there was getting videotaped. And if you took off your clothes to get a massage, like I've done, you take off your clothes, you put on the sheet, and get your massage, you were getting videotaped. And that's illegal, and that's why it was a constitutional violation, and that's why those charges were dropped. So I don't think there was sex trafficking going on. I think they were just doing some legitimate massages and some prostitution. It was prostitution. I don't know why that's a big deal. I don't know why that upsets you. Prostitution.
I'm just trying to get to where, because we said the situation is different, right? That was the premise of this conversation.
It is different because these were just regular massages. Massage therapists. Some of them weren't even massage therapists. I don't even know what an esthetician is. Is it like somebody that does makeup? Like, like these aren't like people that are doing sex acts ever. They just got propositioned by him out of the randomly. Like they're not prostitutes in any sense of the term.
That's what they're saying now. Are we sure?
No, I'm not sure because I don't know what happened here.
Exactly. I honestly don't think there's any difference. If you like if you're going to get a massage with the intention of it ending in that manner, I don't think there's a difference if it's whether you book the masseuse online or if you go into a parlor. Like I don't see the difference in those two cases. That's how this whole discussion started. I don't think there's a difference.
Well, the difference is if the person doing that intends to do that for a living, do the sex act for a living or not. Like if that's not what they do, then no, they're not a prostitute. If it is what they intend to do for money, then they are. It's pretty simple. That's all.
But if you accept the money in the middle of the act, then are you not? Wouldn't you be then considered a prostitute? Under
one
this?
time? In the middle of the act, like one time, like I don't know, man. Like one time, I don't think so.
I was trying to get to where it's different. I don't. That's the whole premise of this. Like I don't get why it's different. Why it'd be treated differently.
Did you do drugs one time? Are you a junkie? Are you a drug addict? Or did you do drugs one time? Like,
you're a drug user. I would say you're a drug user.
You're a drug user because you did it one time.
Sure. Yeah.
Are you a coke freak if you did coke one time in college?
No, not freak. Freak doesn't really have a meaning. But no, you'd be a user.
You're a druggie?
Yeah. No, that would have, I think, other definitions.
If you're a horse that uses steroids to win the Kentucky Derby, are you a junkie?
You're a junkie.
Are you a junkie, or did it happen one time?
Yeah.
All right.
Also, can we call that slander?
What? The junkie?
Yeah, calling a horse a junkie with no evidence. And when it was forced upon him.
Will the owner of the horse go after President Trump? We know Baffert won't.
I don't think so.
I think the horse would have to file the suit himself.
No,
I don't think that's going to happen.
This actually is a good question. As an owner of a horse, and then you're going to stud the horse, and the horse can make money. Is that can you actually defame an animal? I know it sounds ridiculous, but I pay millions of dollars to these horses. I'm gonna, and because then people are like, well, the horse wasn't that great. It was drugged up. Now we got the former president. He's a reputable guy. calling a horse a junkie, could a horse owner be like, whoa, wait a second, that's defamation?
Well, okay. Well, the problem is the horse was on drugs. So truth is always the ultimate defense.
One time.
You don't know that.
Oh God, do we have to do the whole thing with Deshaun Watson again?
No, because truth is the ultimate fence to defamation. You say used it one time. That's probably actually not true.
Probably
right?
not.
He
Yes.
probably used that drug many times in the lead up to the race.
He's in
Maybe.
a junkie house, basically. He's in an equivalent of a crack house for horses with Bob Baffert running things.
He's getting it forced upon him. He's not a junkie.
Yeah.
I never saw him grab one needle.
By the way, Brady, you're spelling it wrong. Junkie is spelled Junky.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you have to go read the post from the president.
Wow. Okay. I get it now. Yes.
No, you
All
get it.
right. Let's do a couple more stories before we get out of here. Adam had this one. Eye-popping lawsuit portrays lawmaker's office as a COVID-19 petri dish. Adam, what's the deal on the story? Because it says Brandon Pope, former aide to Doug Lamborn, accuses the Colorado congressman of recklessly endangering his staff.
Yeah, calling it a hoax, demanding nobody wear masks, sending them out to do errands when things were supposed to be locked down and shut down. Essentially just, ignoring public health guidelines and forcing people to do what they didn't want to do in the midst of a pandemic. And more so than just this case in particular, I definitely wonder if this is going to be something that we see a lot of like looking back and saying, hey, my employer put me in dangerous positions because they didn't believe it or they didn't trust it or anything like that. And is there a difference between a private company and a public worker, like a person that would work for a congressman?
Yeah. I'm trying to think about that. I don't know if there would be a cause of action for that because there's generally like OSHA, safe workplace, guidelines that you have to follow like strictly, like you can't put them in safety regulations like that.
Right.
I don't think COVID would fall under that. As far as a cause of action, I don't, and CDC guidelines, and Justin would have been probably better to answer this, but like CDC guidelines are guidelines, right? Now he could be, sanctioned. The congressman could face, like censure, or could he be sanctioned, or recalled? Or, could he face consequences for it if there was enough? Groundswell. Yeah, he could. I mean, he definitely could face consequences for it. Now, as far as the employee, getting, a bunch of money for it, or employees, I don't know. It could be one of those things where, they find the right lawyer and they file something and, get a settlement. That's possible. But it's interesting. There could be an area of case law where, COVID related things happen. But, generally, law like that, it's like, you were free to, not work for that guy. No, nobody, forced you, to do that. But I would be surprised if they had much of a cause of action, but I could be wrong.
And is there, like in this sort of case, would there be a difference between private worker and public employee?
I'm not sure. Yeah. I mean, I think a private worker would definitely be. I would. Well, I mean, yeah. I would think that a government would. Governments have immunity, right? You have to get past qualified immunity, I would think. So that would make it even tougher. It's tough to sue governments. So, yeah, I would think you would have a tough road to hoe. I mean, that's why cops don't get sued, right? Like things like that. So, I mean, that's the first thing that's popping to my head.
qualified immunity.
But I mean, but here's the thing, like to get sued for that, like this would be the thing with immunity. I mean, here again, I'm just thinking out loud here.
Yeah.
Immunity would probably be pretty easy to get around here because this guy, you're flaunting it, right? Like to get around immunity, you just have to show that you went so far outside of your the scope of your employment. It's pretty clear here. Like, so for a cop, that if you are beating somebody, outside of the policies and procedures of the department, or if a cop starts drinking and gets in his patrol car and kills somebody, the cop can get nailed for sued. He no longer has the privilege of the immunity. So at least the congressperson could do that. Now, of course, also here though, did any of these employees have damages, right? Like, did they get sick? Did they die from COVID? Could their family sue? Like, did anything happen to them other than they just didn't like the fact they were forced to do this stuff, right? They felt, did they have, it sucks. Like, I would hate to be my employer making me do this, but did anything happen to them other than they just didn't like it?
Yeah, I guess you could make some claim. I guess it wouldn't be a legal claim, but
it would be intentional infliction of emotional distress. But those claims are always very, very tough.
And I mean, you could make a claim like, I guess it wouldn't be a court system thing, but that they're putting the public in jeopardy. Like, they've been, entrusted with the public's health, and sending people out into dangerous situations would be an abdication of their duties in that regard.
Mm.
But
again, that would be, a reason to maybe recall him or censure him or something like that.
All right, next one up. Adam sent in the story. Is it legal to prioritize women and minority-owned restaurants for COVID-19 relief? A law alleges that white men are pushed to the back of the line. Adam, you wanted to ask a question. Can us whites, or white males, the very grieved white males, the white fragile males, can we actually be a protected class at some point?
Yeah, that was what I thought when I first saw this. Because first of all, this suit was brought by Stephen Miller, who might be, in my opinion, one of the worst human beings on the planet. And I saw that he was bringing a case on behalf of aggrieved minorities, and I was like, oh wow, look at this. And then he claimed the white males were the aggrieved minorities, and I was like, okay, that's more in line with what he would say. But yeah, I mean, can white males be considered a protected class in this regard to claim that they were screwed over by prioritizing minorities and women and their businesses for some of the relief?
Can they, as it stands now?
Yeah.
No. If Congress got together and passed a law that said white men are now so aggrieved that they're a protected class, in theory, I guess they could. Is that ever going to happen? No. So the answer is no.
I'm surprised Stephen Miller didn't try to get that law passed before they left office.
I'm sure maybe he did try, but obviously it didn't happen. I mean, there's all sorts of laws that already say that, government contracts will prioritize businesses that are like HUD contracts and things like that that prioritize businesses that are, at least 51% women or minority owned. That's been around forever, for a long time. So that this shouldn't be a surprise. That guy's still around. Jesus, I thought he was gone on January 17th or whatever it was.
Our friend Cody Decker speaks very highly of him. It was his high school classmate. He does not speak very highly.
I was going to say,
yeah, he does not.
I know that guy didn't have any friends in high school, so
no.
If Cody said he was his friend, he was lying.
Yeah, he definitely said he was not his friend. He hated him.
Yeah.
But so I guess, do you have to be do you have to be a protected class to file a discrimination suit like this?
Do you have to be a protected class to file a discrimination suit? No, because that's how precedents get set. You can allege that you're discriminated against, and try and get a court to say yes, we're setting a precedent that the Constitution meant for you to be protected too, right? Like gay marriage or something like that. So you don't have to be. It sure helps if you want to win. So you don't have to be, but he's not going to win.
Good. That's all I wanted to hear.
Yes.
Don't let Stephen Miller win any cases in court. That'd be the.
I don't know how you get lawyers to file these cases.
Well, he's a lawyer. I think he filed it
On his own.
Yeah.
Good. Well, maybe he'll get sanctioned and disbarred.
It was on behalf of other people, but yeah, he's the lawyer representing them.
Yeah, I mean, so like in one of the election lawsuit cases, one of the judges said, I'm having a real hard time finding a reason to not refer this to your state bar association for filing this case. It's so frivolous and without merit. What will be interesting is, so like one of the things you have to do when you're a lawyer is you have to, one of the ethical rules is you have to have truth before a tribunal. And just for example, and not to be political, but during the impeachment trials, right? Like, and this is why, and again, I don't want to be political about this, but like President Trump had such a hard time getting people, particularly in the second impeachment trial, to represent him, was because President Trump is not a lawyer, so he can say whatever he wants, and he doesn't have to be truthful. But he has things that he wants his lawyers to say, and his lawyers have to be truthful during proceedings. And so his lawyers kept quitting, saying, Mr. President, we can't do that. But like, particularly during his first trial, they weren't being, to me, it was like, wow, you're doing this in front of the Supreme Justice Court, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. They were saying things that weren't truthful. So some of those guys, could lose their, to me, it was like, how can they do that? Or do they not care about their law licenses? And how are they afraid they're not going to face consequences? Like Rudy Giuliani is now probably going to get disbarred, right? Like, what was he thinking? And more, I think lawyers are starting to, people are talking about, okay, you can't just lie like this anymore. And like, so Stephen Miller possibly could lose his law license if he's going to do things like this. You can't just lie.
All right, let's close on story of the week, and that is assholes around the country hoarding gas, whether it's shopping bags or
these idiots.
Like,
you can't put gas in rubber.
I know.
In plastic.
Freaking storage bins. There was someone filling up a storage bin, and then there's this guy with the Hummer who apparently had, was it 5 or 4 5-gallon containers back in the back of the Hummer. And I thought earlier in the day someone said it was he was actually smoking around it, so that set it up. But yeah, he blew up his Hummer after trying to hoard gas. So is there a legal way to stop this? Like I've seen people say like, oh, there's a limit, put a limit. Like, well, right now gas prices are so high you can't put like a $50 limit in. How do you stop someone from buying lots of gas? I mean, I don't know that you could do anything legally at a gas station to stop people.
Okay, first off, I was dealing with a home inspector yesterday, and he said something about, well, Biden and his $3 gas. I'm like, because I don't know how it is where you guys are. $3.10 is not a lot for gas. So maybe it's $5 in Florida or whatever, where these guys are putting gas. Again, it's got to be a gas-rated container, guys. Even if you're hoarding, you can't put it in plastic. It's got to be an appropriate container. Otherwise, you're going to blow up your Hummer. And 2, it's not that expensive. I don't know what's going on. $3 a gallon. I understand it's not $2.50. $2.50 was really, really super cheap. So I don't understand. I understand if it gets up to $4 a gallon or whatever, but I mean, what was it before? Wasn't it like a year and a half, 2 years ago? Wasn't it like $4 a gallon or something?
Yeah.
Like $3 a gallon.
It jumps in almost every non-pandemic summer. Now, the price has gone up in general, and I made reference to it the other day. Like I have to pull the audio. I have audio from like 2005 where I was like pissing, moaning about gas prices, and I'm like, it's $2.70 a gallon. I was screaming back then that it was out of control. This is an interesting point. There are times where we have limited gas purchases in the past. Now, it's funny. I also saw a picture of, sometimes when the pump is supposedly empty, they will put that yellow bag over the gas nozzle. And someone caught a picture of someone yesterday with the yellow thing on the gas nozzle, and she was like, "Fuck you, pump." He just fucking pumped it anyway. And everyone on the thread is like, that's a misnomer. They're just trying to stop people from buying it. There's always gas in there. And the lady was like, I'm a selfish bitch, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, we could limit Popeye's chicken sandwiches. We can limit gas, right? So the people at the gas station, they could just limit it. It's just this fascination we have with hoarding toilet paper and Clorox wipes. Just if we could just be like Jerry Springer says, be kind to one another and each other, whatever he used to say. Fill up your tank. We have enough gas. Because one pipeline got hacked,
Sure.
Just fill up your tank. I don't know how rednecks can't be smarter than to know not fill up your plastic thing with gas. But yeah, I guess your original question was, Steve, can't they do something about it? Yeah, they just have to want to. Like, they have a button literally inside the gas station where they can shut off your gas at any time.
Good point.
The button's right there. Just, okay, who's at the pump? Bam. Oh, by the way, they have cameras too. Oh, there's somebody out there with a freaking storage container. You're not getting gas. I mean, they're lazy. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
well, they're also trying to sell gas. Like they don't care. Yeah. If you put it in your stupid bag, you're gonna have to come back an hour later and get more because it's gonna break. Like, they love it.
Well, but they can still sell it to the next idiot in line that doesn't have a plastic bag, and that moron will probably come back with something. The moron that was going to fill up his Walmart bag will probably come back with something else. More appropriate, I would guess. I don't know.
I think let them fill up their stupid Walmart bags, and whatever happens to them happens. Just let it go.
Darwinism, survival of the fittest.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, put up a sign that says "Don't fill plastic bags, you morons."
This is next, a cardboard box.
Yeah.
I think I'm waiting for someone to do that old thing where you remember when you were trying to carry water when you were a kid and you would put it in your shirt? You just kind of fill up your shirt and kind of carry it. Somebody's going to do that for sure. 100%.
So awesome.
Oh, people are the best.
What? Yeah, just worldwide. We have some of the best. And not a bad idea. Fishbowl.
A fishbowl would literally be better than some of these containers they're using because, if it's glass, gasoline is not going to eat through a glass fishbowl, I would imagine.
Styrofoam cooler.
No.
Why not?
I would think it's going to... A Yeti cooler. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeti.
I haven't seen that yet. People trying to fill up a regular cooler, plastic cooler.
I'm gonna use like a 2-liter bottle of soda. Just carry it around.
Don't joke. I mean, it's gonna be bad for a while here.
Why?
We've had pipeline interruptions, so
yeah, but they fixed it.
They fixed it.
Right. But the panic's going to go on for another week or two because people are stupid. You think they're reading the story about the pipeline being fixed?
Yes.
They never got the money they wanted, I think, either. They had to just abandon their plan.
Yeah, no, they paid $5 million.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
I saw last night that they couldn't figure out how to actually exchange the cash, and they were like, we just have to shut it down.
We give up.
I didn't see the $5 million. I would say you ask for a lot more than $5 million if you're going to do that, though.
Yeah, they usually keep those ransoms tasty, but not too ridiculous, because then they don't get pursued. You know, they keep it's a nice payoff, but not ridiculous, because then they can get away.
I will tell you that I did stop following the story, so I completely tapped down on it because there was a lot of Q theories going around, and I was like, I can't even. I just have to ignore this story now completely. I don't want to see this anymore. Like it wasn't hacked. Like Biden did it because he's trying to distract from the fact that he didn't win the election, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like I'm absolutely done with this. The Dilbert guy was all over that yesterday.
Oh, is he a big Q guy?
Oh my God, is he?
Really?
Oh my God, yeah. He was all over it, and I was like, okay, I'm done. Yeah, Scott Adams, that's his name.
Our big story on Cofield and Company tomorrow. One of them will be Cole Beasley. I think this is seriously. I think we hit on this a couple weeks ago before a lot of people did, because I was screaming and yelling about 10 days ago about Dennis Schroeder and the Lakers and guys not wanting the vaccine. And it's like, you know, you want to win or not? You want to be part of a team or not? And now we got the Yankees with 8 issues. Well, you know, they're not all positive, but 8 guys with issues with COVID. Gleyber Torres tested positive today. The Padres. And then in the NFL, we've had this thing brewing around the Bills. Brandon Beane said it last week, the GM, Adam, where the NFL is going to have a minimum, just like we did here on the Strip and casinos around town. You get to 88%, then you can operate like normal. Your employees are at 80% vaccinations. You can operate like normal. Then you can open up to 100% on the casino floor. And around sports, there are so many morons who are listening to other morons that we're going to have teams, and I think also on the collegiate level, we're going to have, you know, situations where they can't operate like other teams. And what is the NFL going to do, Adam? Cole Beasley came out today and was making jokes about wearing masks, not wearing masks, vaccination, not vaccinated. He said he's not vaccinated. So he joins Josh Allen, who we don't know if he is or not, but he was leery. I think there's 2 other guys. I would assume Jordan Poyer's not, since his wife has been going fucking crazy on the internet.
Jordan Poyer's wife is all out Q, so I can't imagine that he did.
So what happens if the Bills, the number in the NFL to get back to operating on a normal level is going to be 85%? Now, I don't know what the 85% is of. Is that like everyone in the organization? Is it your 53-man roster? Is it up to like 65 players? What is it?
So for I know for the NHL, we saw their guidance, so it's probably going to be similar, I would imagine, which it's 85% of your tier 1 and tier 2, which would be anybody that would travel, anybody that's around the team. So like we know what the Golden Knights, like, you know, one of their PR people is inside the group and one of them is outside. So one of them can actually deal with the media, one of them deals with the players, but the one that deals with the players is considered the tier 1 and the tier 2. It has to be 85% of that group. So Stormy, I don't think I'm giving anything away, is one of that group. You know, the sideline reporter, who's ringside reporter, who's our who's on with us regularly. So like that's the delineation. It's not just players. It's anybody. It'd be players, coaches, anybody within that group that is around each other and don't associate with people outside that group. So yeah, for the NFL, it'd probably be like a little over 100 that'd be in that group. So you can have a couple holdouts, but not that many. And by the way,
God, I hope the Bills and like 4 other teams can't operate at the same level of normalcy as other teams, and I hope it affects them during the year. And I hope they're all like, good job, Cole. Why?
Why would you hope that?
Get the fucking vaccine. That's why. Stop with the hoaxing and the anti-vaxxer stuff. Be a part of the bigger community. Cut the shit. Stop trying to be a tough guy. Stop trying to politicize it. Stop trying to make a name for yourself, Cole Beasley. Be a part of a team. Do what you're supposed to do. That's why.
I was arguing with somebody on Twitter earlier about, not on Twitter, excuse me, on a group text, and you know, it was kind of the same thing. And I said, hey, if you want to be a part of society, which is what we're saying, you want to go out, you want to be normal, you want to be in society, then be fucking civil. Get it. Like it's very simple. You don't have to get it if you don't want to. That's fine. Stay the fuck home. Yeah. Like, it's a very simple choice. You want to be a part of society or do you not want to be a part of society? That's your decision. And if you don't, you think I'm not going to be a part of this experiment. Okay, fine. Stay home and do your own thing. Live in the woods or something. Like, that's totally fine. You don't have to be a part of society, but if you are, then be civil. It's not even controversial. The vaccine is, I get it because people have made it that way, whatever. But like this whole thing of like my choice, my body, my choice. What does it affect you if I get it or not? That's a scientific issue. That's not a political thing. Anything else? It's the more the virus is spreading around, the more people that get it and contract it, the more likely it is to mutate, and the vaccines won't work anymore because of that. So it's not like, well, it's me. If I get it, who cares if I get it if you're vaccinated? That's why. It's very simple. It's not really even controversial. Like that we've known thousands and thousands and thousands of years of this research of what happens when viruses continue to mutate. So that's why you have to get it. And if you don't, like I said, I don't give a fuck if you get it or not.
Right.
Stay home. Yeah. It's super easy.
Don't work. Don't come to work. But when you're starting to put me at risk, fuck you.
Yeah.
I gotta worry about potentially catching it with whatever the window is now. Once you're vaccinated, 10, 12%. Now you're putting me in jeopardy. And now it's my time to be selfish. So you want to be part of work? You want to be part of a team? You want to win an NBA championship? You want to be the Padres and fucking win baseball games? You want to operate at the highest level in the NFL? Then be part of a team. Or you can do this freaking performative bullshit because most people aren't really concerned about the vaccine and the safety. You're just taking a stance. It's the same shit that's been going on the last couple of years, trying to take some sort of political stance and be anti whatever you're trying to be anti.
That's what's perplexing to me is I don't even understand the resistance politically, because when the previous administration was in office, they were touting it. The previous president got it, but now he's resistant to go on the record and say, hey, everybody get it. Almost everybody that supports the previous administration has gotten the polio vaccine and every other vaccine they've been required to get throughout their lives. Like, they've vaccinated all their kids. All these people that are resistant to it aren't your traditional anti-vaxxers that homeschool their kids. I don't understand how this has become a political issue because they all supported the previous administration. It makes no sense to me. It's not the same as, the way the masks were politicized. And I think I said it last week on the podcast. It's so ironic now that experts are coming out and saying, these are the same people that said, we should have herd immunity. We're actually we may not get to herd immunity because these people won't get vaccinated.
Right.
It's nuts.
Yeah. Remember from the beginning, that was their whole thing. If everybody gets it, herd immunity, we'll be fine. Now it's like, hey, we're real close. If you person who said herd immunity would go get it, we'd actually get there. But now you won't get it. Like, what the fuck? Jesus.
Now, here is one interesting thing. Gil the Thrill 69 says 8 vaccinated members of the Yankees got COVID anyway.
Hold on a second. Not all 8 got COVID. I think so far 2 have gotten COVID, which this is a very interesting situation, and it may be Johnson & Johnson, which is another thing now we have to consider.
Well, because I was talking to Adrian Dater, who's our Avalanche beat writer, and because my big thing was with the NHL, like, what the hell's going on? Because the Avs continually get hit with COVID. I'm like, why the hell didn't the NHL guys all just fly to Florida, all get vaccinated? Like, why the hell were we still dealing with COVID on the Avs so late after the vaccinations were possible? And he said, 3 or 4 guys on the Avalanche got COVID after the vaccine, after they got vaccinated. So that was weird to me that some of these athletes continue to get.
Well, and I know for a lot of athletes, and this is what we're dealing with the Yankees, got the Johnson & Johnson, which I thought from the beginning was ridiculous that they were doing it. But yeah, it's like 65 to 70% effective against against getting it. Getting it. It's like 100% effective against getting seriously sick. Right. But you still have a fairly decent chance of getting it after Johnson & Johnson, which is why I don't understand why any athletic organizations allow Johnson & Johnson to be the one that they use. But yeah, it's much more effective against preventing serious illness than it is contracting it. So you can still get it, and that seems to be what's happening with the Yankees in their case, at least a couple of them. But yeah, it prevents serious illness is what helps when it really helps there. So,
well, yeah, but it seems like for sports leagues, that may have not been the vaccine you wanted to get.
yeah, they should have got the Pfizer and Moderna, which is far more effective in that regard. And that, like, I think that's what they should have done. And by the way, I was very resistant on the passport thing and the the QR codes you can put on your phone of being vaccinated or whatever. Like, I'm not anymore. Like, I think it is open enough that we have enough access to it now, and there's like vaccines going wasted. I thought the distribution wasn't completely spreading out enough and getting to all areas of of society at first, but now we're at a point where we are, and it's time to start going back and saying, like, hey, if you're vaccinated, you can do this, and it's motivation. We saw what Ohio did. I mean, the lottery is a dumb idea, but whatever.
I want some sort of gambling win only for us who are vaccinated here in Nevada.
No, okay, we can do that, but I'm much more concerned now and say, hey, prove that you're vaccinated, and you can do whatever the hell you want. And that way, the people that aren't are missing out, and they're like, okay, what do I have to do to get it? Like, let's go. I'll do it. You can get on a plane and it'd be fine. You could go. We're going back to 100% almost in casinos, whatever. You can go to games, like 100% of VGK, but everybody has to be vaccinated. And then a lot of people are like, oh, I guess I better get it now because I want to go to this game. Okay, fine. Like, do things like that now because let's go. It's time to get back, but it's not time to get back and skip steps. Like, we've come this far. Like, let's go.
By the way, food mention of the week. This is what I had for dinner tonight. Pull this picture up. I think Dan's going to be real happy about this. Real happy. Real pleased. Barbecue. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not barbecue. It's steak, isn't it?
It's on the grill. No, I'm saying it was grilled. It was grilled. My bad. I was grilled.
Yeah, the barbecue is not on the grill. Come on.
I know. Use the grill.
Real quick, lamination, by the way. It's good to go.
Oh, wow. Good for you. Little green beans, little potatoes. Good to go.
You make that?
Look at that. Unbelievable.
Did you make that?
Pretty good, right?
Yeah, you made that.
There's no way. You didn't put a side cup of green beans. There's no way.
It looks great. Some of the comments are going to say it's overdone, but I like it. I'd really eat that. You made the gravy and everything?
Well, out of a little packet.
Okay, no, it looks good. I mean, that looks like a restaurant presentation there, man.
Beautiful.
Can you put up Adams?
You still have my air fryer steak picture?
The green steak.
Yeah, unless you went out and shot the meat, Steve, McKinnell's not going to be happy with it.
I know, right? You have to slaughter the meat.
Yeah,
track it down and then slaughter it.
No, I think that's nicely done. I think you did a great job there. I'm impressed. Now, you did that on your grill out back, or?
I did, yes. Yep.
Very nicely done. I haven't cooked in a while.
Yeah. Truth be told, I didn't make that. I pulled that from the internet. So
I didn't think you did. No,
the side cup gave it away.
Now, could I make a steak like that? Yes, of course I can. I actually we're trying to eat a little healthier. So the SO actually made. She's come up with her own cauliflower fried rice. Which is actually very good. It's very good. I did have a steak that I had kind of marinating for too long, so I did cook a T-bone tonight. But it turned out pretty well. I didn't eat it yet. I'm just going to chop it up and have it for lunch tomorrow. But I can do steaks on the grill.
Well, how come I never see any pictures?
I don't know. I'll get you some pictures.
All right. Yeah. I haven't cooked in a while.
By the way, good point. Kirk gave me a bunch of authentic Kansas City barbecue sauce, and we just did some chicken with the it wasn't Gate sauce. It was Arthur Bryant. That their name? No, it was Gate. Well, no, it was Arthur Bryant. It was freaking awesome. So,
yeah, Arthur Bryant's is the place you go in there and they're like really rude to you on purpose.
Is that Arthur Bryant or Gates? Because we went to the Gates, right, where you were like, don't walk up to the counter, stand back and yell it, and I'm like, yeah, I can't hear. I'm walking up.
Yeah, they're both kind of actually. I mean, I think one of them is more famous for it, but they're both kind of like, and you're like, I haven't even been here before. I don't know. Yeah. And you're like, it's intimidating, and I'm like, I
kind of liked it, and the food's ridiculous. It was at Gates. It was awesome, man.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about. Unless it's Seattle barbecue sauce, I don't even want it.
You're an idiot. Although, you know, that turned into a big discussion. So let me see if I can find it. Last night, Adam was trying to troll Petro, and I think Petro had just had enough of it.
Trying, or it worked.
Oh, it worked. That was the quickest end to a podcast we've had in months.
What happened?
Petro did the Pete DeBoer walk off.
He did. Well,
really?
TripAdvisor tried to do a based on ratings. TripAdvisor tried to do top cities for barbecue, and it was. We discovered some new places apparently that are awesome for barbecue.
Like Seattle?
Seattle was one of them.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Virginia Beach, Charlotte, New Orleans. Well, I will tell you the Newark thing. If you're watching last night, I mentioned something at the end when I mentioned Newark, and I said Portuguese. And there were a lot of people in Newark and in New Jersey who were like, yeah, Portuguese and Brazilian barbecue. You know, it doesn't have to be traditional U.S. barbecue with barbecue sauce or rub. Like they do a lot of Portuguese and Brazilian barbecue in Newark. It's actually, I'm not saying it's better than Kansas City or Memphis or North Carolina or Texas. I'm just saying they do some barbecue there.
There's also a dinosaur barbecue right next to the arena, which I'm sure is part of the reason why this is so high on the list. It's a preposterous list. First of all, I've said in the past that I believe Little Rock is the top barbecue place that I've ever been to. I liked it better than anywhere else. Arkansas barbecue is insanely good.
You've never actually been to Little Rock.
What are you talking about? Yes, I have.
When?
For my cousin's wedding.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The Clinton ties. That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot you went there. I thought you were basing your Arkansas barbecue just on the place here.
No. That's why I was so excited about when the place came here, because it's Arkansas barbecue. And I thought Little Rock was, listen, I've been to Memphis. I thought it was good. Kansas City, I thought it was very good. Little Rock was my favorite barbecue town. We went to like 4 different places. It was all amazing. And the place outside Dallas is probably the best individual barbecue place I've ever been to. Pecan Lodge, I believe it was. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And Dallas not on the list either.
Did you go? We went to a place in Houston, I think, or maybe around a UFC event, or maybe around I don't know, Final Four or something. I thought Houston had some pretty good barbecue.
Yeah, this is fairly absurd here. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous.
You don't think Seattle is a top 10?
So what happened with Petro?
He just
fucking lost it.
He's like, is this from Adam? Adam wanted to show this? Okay, we're done. We're done.
No, I mean, in like Denver, like we have nothing here. I mean, I actually started I had a barbecue company for a couple of years because of that, because like we have nothing here. So like, yeah, I can just imagine you showing Petro this. So
I also just so the listeners know, because the trolling doesn't end when the show ends. So I sent a link to Steve and to Petro late last night. That was like a story of how Seattle barbecue was born and how it's on the rise and like it's blowing up in Seattle.
I was gonna say, was it just like a blank page or something because it doesn't exist or what?
No, it's actually a pretty legitimate story. I enjoyed the story, but it actually said in the story, it's like, listen, we're not Kansas City, or like we're still in our infancy, but clearly they didn't know that they were top 10 ahead of Kansas City and Dallas and anywhere else, and Little Rock and Memphis also not on the list.
Somebody's saying Dickey's in Denver. No, Dickey's is not.
Dickey's a chain? I think they're here.
Yeah, Dickey's is not good. Somebody's saying Aurora is number 5 worst in America. I live in Aurora. It's God's country. But I mean, we don't have any barbecue out here, really. That's why I started the place, Jake and Joel's Barbecue Company. May she rest in peace. But yeah, we don't have barbecue out here.
Seattle. I love
Brady. What are you doing texting? You're supposed to be working on my room, man. What are you doing?
Yeah. Find a room. Oh, I thought you were staying Silver Sevens. We got it. We're good.
Yeah, no. Well, Raphael's supposed to be getting me a
That's
room.
True. That's true. Obviously, those rankings, what it is like it just takes the average composite score of all the barbecue places in town.
There could be 2 great places in town in obscure place. I mean, people can barbecue or grill, whatever. People can do this all over the country, and if there's a couple good places, then of course they could score high.
Yeah. Now in Kansas City, there's actually like what's called it's really like a gourmet place. It's called Jack Stack. Phenomenal, pricey, but yeah, the burn ends sandwich at Gates, I mean, just amazing. But the problem is it's almost like the Popeye's chicken sandwich. Like you take a bite and you're like, oh my god, it's phenomenal, greasy. You take that second bite, you're like, okay, and then by the third or fourth bite, you're like, man, I can't finish this because it's just so much like grease in it. It's really good, but you're like, I shouldn't be doing this. I should not be doing this to myself. That type of thing.
That's funny. I've never had that happen.
Oh, really? Never happened to you?
You have discipline. I will keep going.
Yeah. So
all of this grease and fat and taste is going into my right into the stomach.
Yes. The thing about KC is like there was actually I love Gates and another place that we went to, but everybody raved about this other place that we went to, and I didn't love it. It was I'm trying to look it up right now. No, it was a Q39.
Oh, it's a newer place, yeah.
Joe J. Up there.
Yeah. Oh, there he goes.
Why didn't you like it?
I don't. I mean, it just wasn't. Maybe, and I think it's unfair to judge a place on one visit too. Like sometimes it's just not. It's not their best, day, not their best effort, whatever. I didn't think it was that great compared to other places that I was at. But everybody was like, "This is the spot. Like this is now the new place that everybody goes to, that everybody loves." And I was like, "Yeah, it was fine." But there's other places I've liked better.
Yeah, beef on bun is what they call it. Yeah,
I got Kirk, whatever box we got from Gates, it was like so much effing food, but it was unreal. God, it was like this giant box of barbecue for I don't know what it was, $25. It was worth every penny. Awesome. That's why I'll be going back to Kansas City, not because the Raiders play the Chiefs there.
I make some mean brisket myself, boys. So if you guys ever make it out for a Bronco game,
I will. Well, I may be there very soon.
For
round 2.
Oh yeah, we'll hook you up with some brisket.
All right, there we go. No mask, double the fully vaccinated. Adam's hitting the road, baby. He's ready to go.
Fully vaxxed. Now the next question is when do they get rid of when you board the plane? As long as everyone is vaccinated on the plane, can we go no mask?
God, that would be awesome.
That'd be great. Check it at the gate.
So I don't know what's going on here because I know CDC announced something, but 2 of my friends on Facebook tonight posted because they started dating, I think during the pandemic. They were in a store tonight saying, the first time we've been in a store together with no masks. I'm like, what, already?
It's not supposed to be inside. Those would be outside.
Well, I don't know what store it was, but they were. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. So.
Outside if you're fully vaccinated, which, by the way, good luck with the enforcement.
Yeah. Adam, it said inside too.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. And that when I saw that, I was like, my God. The business is tomorrow, or because Sisolak said we're going to go with the CDC. The businesses are screwed.
Well, this is why. Like, I had some people texting me like, "Oh, finally, I've known for a while you could be vaccinated and go with no mask." Like, yeah, we know. Enforcement has always been the question. Like you're unleashing this insane pressure on businesses now, where like we're gonna check cards at the door when you come in. Like, no, of course not. Like it's a total mess, and that's why it took so long. Like that's what people didn't understand. I think of like, why is it taking so long to make this announcement? Because it's going to be chaos starting tomorrow. It's going to be chaos of like, I don't have to wear a mask. I'm vaccinated. Well, no, you're not. Like you've been yelling at this. You've been coming in this business every day yelling that you're not getting the vaccine, and then tomorrow you're like, I'm vaccinated. Mask off. Like that's why they waited so long to do this.
Yeah, I like that. Karen's going to be out tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Full force. All right, guys. We appreciate it. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.